The elevator up to Lucifer's penthouse. In actual fact, it's just a very dark box.
Have you ever been curious to find out what goes on the sets of our favorite show? Well, look no further. Today we have for you a list of all the behind-the-scenes facts of Lucifer that will leave you stunned as well as satisfied. Number 10. The devil can sing. A very significant part of Lucifer Morningstar's charm in the show is his singing and the way he beautifully plays the piano, which adds to his charisma and leaves men and women obsessed with him. Turns out his singing isn't just limited to the show, and Tom Ellis, aka Lucifer, can actually sing in real life. And although the piano isn't actually played by Tom Ellis in the show and is just a facade, he does sing his songs himself. Nevertheless, just because the devil doesn't know how to play the piano doesn't mean he isn't familiar with other instruments such as the trumpet and the French horn, which Tom Ellis was quite fond of in his youthful days. Ellis even admitted to being a fan of David Bowie, whose music plays a key role in the popular show. The reason for which you'll find out soon. Ellis said in an interview, "The cast and crew were having a karaoke night out in Vancouver, and I got up to belt out a song. The producers didn't know I could sing, so they decided to work it into an episode in the first season."
Do you know, what should we do? What about Creep?
Number 9. Lucifer almost had an American accent. So it turns out the character of Lucifer Morningstar was almost going to be American. In fact, Tom Ellis even tried to film the lines with an American accent, but according to him, it did not go with the character who was meant to be liked by fans despite his devilish roots. He thought the lines came off much better with the British accent, and made him seem much more charming and desirable, unlike how rude and cocky he was coming across with the American accent, which is why the collective decision to change the character's accent was taken. I mean, let's face it, doesn't everything sound better with a British accent?
A pleasure.
Oh, pleasure. Always pleasure.
Number 8. First 2 seasons were shot in Vancouver. The home of the show for the first 2 seasons was Vancouver until it shifted to LA. The initial plan, in fact, was to shoot the whole show in Vancouver, even if the show was actually set in LA, and despite the fact that the plot was actually shot in the City of Angels. The executive producer, however, decided that they wanted to increase the LA sparkle from season 3, so production was shifted there. Number 7. It almost didn't make it. Surprisingly, this current fan favorite almost didn't make it and was pretty close to being canceled. The show had incredibly low ratings in the beginning when it only aired on Fox, and became one of the incentives for the network to cancel the show after the 3rd season, which they actually did. Not only that, but some people didn't agree with the idea of producing and airing such a show either. A few people started protesting against the show and demanded that it must be canceled because apparently one of the greatest characters in mythology was being ruined by inconsistencies and moronic behavior, while some stood up against it because they believed the show would be glorifying Satan as a caring, likable person in human flesh, which is not acceptable. So people and established associations actually submitted petitions to discontinue it. The show, however, was picked up by Netflix very soon after Fox actually canceled it, and 2 seasons have already been aired since then.
Good me as your guardian devil.
Number 6. DC Comics is the inspiration, not the Bible. A lot of people condemned the show for the inconsistencies it had when compared to the teachings of the Bible and how it accurately portrayed the beliefs of the Christian faith. But the show was not actually based on the Bible, but instead on DC Comics, which was written by Neil Gaiman. That too, though, is Lucifer and is only loosely structured around and includes only a few things from its storyline and themes. This did lead to fans of the comics being annoyed because of how different the show is from the comic. Neil Gaiman himself, though, is quite happy with the series and was impressed with the way Tom Ellis has portrayed his version of Lucifer.
There is a way for you to right all your wrongs.
Number 5. Tom Ellis does his own nude scenes. While a lot of actors use body doubles to shoot nude scenes, our devil Tom Ellis does the scenes himself. He puts in a lot of effort in maintaining his physique for the show, as per instructed by his contract. Why would he hide the results then? In fact, he is proud to do all the nude scenes himself. He said, I quote, "I had a moment of pride with how I felt and how I looked. I wasn't against the idea of nudity." There was obviously a limit to how much nudity he would go ahead with, especially due to the constraints by the network itself, because the show was accessible by a wider population, including kids.
Lucifer!
A when in Rome, detective.
Number 4, hashtag Save Lucifer. A lot of fans were very disappointed and miserable when Fox canceled the show after its 3rd season, but the fans obviously didn't sit idle. They cooked up a Twitter storm and made sure they caused a ruckus big enough to make a difference. A hashtag to bring the show back started trending soon enough, and the hashtag Save Lucifer campaign was soon coupled with another watchword, hashtag Pick Up Lucifer. And alas, the uproar caused by this on social media paid off when Netflix cashed in on this opportunity and picked up the show. Netflix finally revived the beloved fantasy drama for another season, and the fans were very satisfied. The producers even paid a tribute to the campaign initiated by the fans, and all the effort is ensued by naming the first episode of Season 4, Save Lucifer. The cast, although, was extremely disheartened when the show got canceled because they felt like people didn't love their show enough, considering how it was all about ratings. But when they saw the campaign and the storm it created on social media, they were overwhelmed and surprised by how popular the show actually was and how dedicated their fans were.
Good, I wanted to stop anyway.
The world's just gone tumbling down around your ears.
Number 3, Tom Ellis's tough crowd at home. While the world is fully mesmerized by Tom Ellis' character on screen, his family is not so impressed. He revealed in an interview with People magazine that his kids don't care who he plays on TV. He is a father to 3 girls, and he has repeatedly tried to gauge their interest in the fact that their father is, well, is literally on the TV. But much to his dismay, his kids are not very fazed by the whole thing.
So it could be said I'm from a religious family.
Yes.
But they're all really great about it. I mean,
Number 2, David Bowie. The author of the graphic novels, Mike Carey, actually had David Bowie in mind as the initial inspiration for the character of Lucifer. And if someone actually goes through the comics, a great resemblance to the musician can actually be seen, and the writers of the show did try to incorporate the original David Bowie inspiration by adding a song or two of his into a couple of episodes as an ode to him. Number 1. The cast is like family. Unlike shows which are filled with scandalous events between the cast and crew, Lucifer's cast is quite chummy with each other. The cast has truly become a family behind the scenes, which obviously is adored by fans, because what is better than seeing your favorite group of people bond off-screen as well? Given how they spend 12 hours a day together, many of them have taken to killing downtime by pranking one another and playing on their hobbies and fears. One of the incidents narrated by the cast is the time they filled Tom Ellis' trailer full of huge cardboard cutouts on his birthday of a guest star on the show whom Ellis found extremely annoying. This prank was played by co-star Lauren German and was enjoyed by the whole cast. Ellis himself is actually quite the funny guy and has worked in a lot of comedic roles. Even some of the most die-hard fans of the show fail to realize that the show has so much depth and controversy surrounding it. With all the hype around the show, though, it is extremely interesting to find out how the show tackled the backlash of writing this controversial storyline and turned it into one of the highest-rated shows. An added cherry on top, though, is how incredibly the cast gets along like a dysfunctional family, making all of us love the show even more. Aren't we all glad the show was rescued and revived? We hope you enjoyed this video. Which behind-the-scenes fact were you most fascinated by? And how did you cope when the show got canceled by Fox? Let us know in the comments. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Until next time.